go. Hi, this is Lori.
And this is Peter.
And this is Hamilton.
And we're with Heroes Character Rental Service, and Action Heroes LA. And here to review our next review of the night.
The Bloods. The Five
Bloods.
And it's not THE.
No, it's DA. The correct spelling, the pronunciation incorrect. I was trying to do that again. But anyway, this is a movie that was released on Netflix just a few weeks ago. I think about in the end of June, and it's directed by Spike Lee. Mm-hmm. And this is a story of 5 Black Vietnam veterans who go back to Vietnam to find something they planted there back when they were there serving as soldiers in the war.
Right.
And
well, actually, it's 4 of them that go
oh, that's
back.
right, 4. You're right, 4 Vietnam vets going back. They were a group of 5, and one of the missions is that they are there to retrieve the remains of their fallen comrade. They're one of the fifth blood, basically.
The fifth blood, yes.
And Hal, you have any? You want to start with this one?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I wouldn't say I'm a Spike Lee fan, but I admire a lot of his work.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I'm not a fan, but I mean, I'm saying I like some of his stuff more than others. But this film I like because I usually like when he does films where he's doing stuff that's topical and he's dealing with issues within the Black community in particular. Like, I like films that most people probably haven't heard of, like Red Hook Summer and his more obscure stuff that he's done in the last few years. But this film I thought was interesting because, like, it's a Vietnam film, and I think there's like a borderline of like paying homage to other Vietnam films, and also kind of like there's I don't know if he did it intentionally, but there's even cliches that come up. But it's not relevant because the story is really about these characters in a contemporary sense, how this war affected them, and I thought, and then how the war affected Black soldiers in general. So I thought that was interesting. I thought that was original, and yet it was still very entertaining all at the same time, which are kind of like my requirements for a film. It's got to be entertaining, for me to really like it, and.
If it can be, culturally relevant and thought-provoking at the same time, it's like even more. It's like, that's even more of a tasty meal.
Yeah, exactly.
Peter, you have any?
I liked a lot of aspects of it. I didn't think it was perfect, but we can get into all of that.
Oh, okay.
Well, what I liked about the movie was that it touched on the 4. Mm-hmm. Each one of them, as they left, stateside, the people that they had to deal with, and what was going on.
What was going on in their lives as they took this journey to back to Vietnam.
Mm-hmm. And then once they got to Vietnam, the people who were helping them, who actually lived through Vietnam.
Yeah.
And they were then stating from their side.
Yeah.
So, not just the personalities of each one of the men, each one of the 4 that went there, and their personalities and how Vietnam affected them, as well as their lives now. When they went to Vietnam, the people who, the Vietnamese, how they felt.
Right.
And there was also some who had been Northerners and Southerners. So each person had a different take, and then it seemed to culminate in, like a pot of gumbo, whereas you have different tastes but brought into all one thing to make something good happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought this was I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was really well done. I thought it's interesting. Like I said, it was great because it not only you're getting new perspectives in Vietnam movies. I don't know if there are many Vietnam movies about the Black experience in Vietnam. And, all I know is, I've got my cousins who went there, and I've heard their stories and stuff on what they've had to deal with and stuff. You get a lot of movies. Of course, you get Platoon, you get Apocalypse Now, which is a legendary classic. But this story of how it affected the Black soldiers, who by that time were probably getting disproportionate. You had a lot of white people who could manage to get out of that war, get deferments and stuff like that if you were privileged, and so you had more minorities. There's a couple of them were presidents, but yeah, and also it's interesting because there's a scene where they're drinking at a bar when they first arrive in Vietnam, and there's a couple of a table of Vietnamese guys who buy them a drink, and it turns out they were former Viet Cong, some of their former opponents, and they toast each other and stuff. And like I said, seeing that, and it does touch on how the war affected some of the Vietnamese people, from their soldiers to the kids who were born afterward and everything. And there it is what would you say? Do we reveal one of the main storylines, what they're back there for?
Oh, well.
Okay, spoiler alert. What it turns out, they're back there to find their fallen comrades' remains, but there was a shipment of gold sent that was being flown in during that time to pay the Vietnamese people for damage done. And these soldiers decided the helicopter crashed at the time. The transport plane, sorry, thank you, crashed at the time, and they decided to bury the gold and keep it for themselves, because they felt it's like, we're fighting a war for a country where, we go back home and get treated like shit. It's like that money is ours. So I thought it was really just an interesting story. That I would have never expected or never thought of, and I thought, you would think that's something wrong, but just like no, I feel for these guys. So it's these personality clashes because they're all grown, they've all had different experiences since then, they're all different people, and as they come in to find this gold, and then there's the challenges, you got people coming after them will figure out they're coming after this gold, that this gold is hidden. So it's a whole kind of a chase movie. It's a suspense, it's action. There's some surprises. There's kind of there's some surprises that I was expecting, but it was done in such a way it threw me off not to expect it. So when it happened, I was like, oh my God. So I mean, this is a really well done movie. And I have a couple more things to say, but I don't want to, monopolize the time. So Ham, did you want to add some more stuff?
Yeah, I definitely wanted to mention that I like the fact that Spike Lee, whoever was overseeing the casting, they chose characters we've seen many times before in supporting roles in other films. They were, they got the front. They were the leading actors in this film. Like Delroy Lindo in particular. I like Delroy Lindo, and I thought he was able to really shine in this film.
Wow, he was great.
I liked his character, and when I say this film's not perfect, one of the things I had an issue with is the way his character was like a MAGA hat wearing black guy or whatever, however you said it.
They exist.
But I wanted to know more about his motivations, like why? Because
go ahead. I thought the movie kind of laid enough background for me to kind of understand, and if you want to take it as an opinion, as kind of the people who are going towards that point of view. Are very hurt and damaged and fearful people that kind of cling to that type of philosophy is what I took from it. Whether you agree from that or not, I think that's kind of like what he was trying to say by having that character be that way. He was extremely damaged, and there's a revelation in the film that you find out that happened to him in Vietnam, that even his family life with his son, and his son they do have a story about him and his son in this movie, and you know,
it was wild.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just that traumatic family stuff. It's just like when you're a damaged person, you damage the people around you,
Right.
and so
Right.
so
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to know was because I thought the Chadwick Boseman
Boseman, yeah.
character was interesting. The way he
Panther's
instilled this sense in the other soldiers of their own greatness.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and I like that. And then I'm like, well, why would you end up becoming a MAGA supporter or whatever? But then that makes sense. Yeah, like these people have all kinds of damage going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he obviously they talked about PTSD, and he talked about his own issues. Which, yeah, you're right. That if you put it in that perspective, it makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was interesting why whoever the scriptwriter was, why they chose to go that route. Because I like the fact that they had different types of characters. They weren't typical.
I just in reference to the script, that's the other thing I wanted to bring up, and then I'll let you guys continue. Is I did some research on the movie after watching it, and it turns out this script was written like many years ago, and it wasn't about black soldiers at all. It was being, it was picked up like it might have been picked up like Oliver Stone was supposed to do it. And of course things, how things happen in Hollywood and the movies can sit around for years. So, Spike Lee has a writing credit. I think he took the story and he made it about black soldiers and kind of put his own touch and added that depth. I think that kind of made it even a more interesting movie. It was an interesting, it would have been interesting. More would have been like the gold heist kind of thing. Originally, but it added a layer of depth by telling these soldiers stories that we haven't heard before. So I'll let you guys continue.
Well,
that's interesting.
The story was very much like a movie that I was hoping that we'll get to watch pretty soon called Kelly's Heroes. It was in World War II. It's actually. The movie was written from a true story. There was this big heist that American soldiers were involved in during World War II. But what I really enjoyed about this movie is that here were these, at the end, these 5 friends. 4 friends who came, and then they met this one, and the one kind of made them become brothers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Like when they first got
because they were still different personalities then, although maybe not too far from each other. But now their personalities after the war and through just living were wildly different. Some were, there was one who was very successful. Mm-hmm. There was one who wasn't successful at all. And then there were all different levels in between. Mm-hmm. And each one seemingly, the way the writers did it, they were totally different people, but had this one common thread that bound them. Mm-hmm. And they all went with that idea, and through it, you would see them get away from each other and then come back together. Get away from each other and come back together. And I really liked the way the writers and the way the director spun the story. The storyline is just incredible. I'm not particularly a big Spike Lee fan, but the way he put this movie together, and a lot of his normal
idiosyncrasies, maybe.
Video, what do you call
one
it?
shot. Too.
Yeah.
His one shot he always has in every film.
Yeah.
Toward the end.
But this was really good. And then when you had the other elements just come in, mm-hmm. that was outside of these 4 or 5, guys. It was just I just thought it was an incredible movie.
Yeah.
When you say that one shot, you mean when the camera kind of pans around a character and they're standing there like looking like.
Well, they're usually stationary, and they have them like on a dolly, so they're like moving through a scene like that. He always has a shot like that, so it's always toward the end. So I was like, I always kind of wait for it and stuff. And this movie is like, are they gonna have it? Because it's a kind of, for him, like. A lot of his early movies had his really distinct voice and style, and there was a certain feel to it. Whereas kind of his later years, he's kind of more of he's kind of calmed down, toned it down, or just became a more polished director. So a lot of those things, I'm starting to wonder if I'm going to see it. But so I appreciate it when it popped up.
I've always assumed that Spike Lee, at some point in his career, he had to make more conventional Hollywood popcorn type movies just to survive. But he still makes those.
He still gets his
with his voice.
Yeah,
he still makes them. They just don't get as much acclaim or attention because he's, like quite frankly, like we watched. Do the Right Thing a few weeks ago, and he got a lot of flack for that movie. People hated him for that movie. It was like, it's a good movie. And
it's well respected now. It's really well respected.
I know a lot of people. I always heard people criticize him as racist, and like he's too topical and racist or whatever in his views.
Well, I expect him to be topical, but I don't. I think he's a lot more fair in terms of. I think he's more fair in letting all sides show.
Yes.
In his films,
exactly.
I don't think it's fair to call him that. You're not really watching his movies, then.
I'm of the personal opinion that if this movie was just about some soldiers going to get gold. And he made it, and that was it. It wouldn't have been as interesting.
No, I don't think so.
But the fact that he put his voice in it, he has something to say.
Yeah, and about the experience of black men and during that era, and that hasn't been talked about much, really. It's
well, when it
not in film.
No, when it has been talked about, and like you said, not in film, but when it has been talked about, it's shouted down. But it's a truism that, it finally came out. But then, whereas with a lot of Spike Lee movies, he puts everything in your face.
And he does.
This one, he didn't. It just flowed.
Yeah, it did.
Now there was some things that, and I guess maybe because of today's society, I didn't like. I said, "Oh, he shouldn't do that. Why is he being like that?" Stuff like that. But the reality is, some people are.
Well, there's certain things. He likes to educate people, too. I expect this from a Spike Lee movie. And, this movie does flow, but then there's, some jarring moments. He'll pop something, a photo on screen to, this is my ancestral history. You got to know about it. You're going to learn about it from me. So, I don't care. I don't care if it's in the middle of a movie. And it's within the storyline, but he'll put it in there in a very jarring, in-your-face type of way, and that's just his style. So,
but see, that's probably exactly what I'm talking about. Is that there were things put into the movie, but they flowed with the movie.
Yeah, I agree. I
whereas other times he'll throw a brick at you.
Okay.
And you have to duck, or get hit in the face with. Yeah. Whereas with this movie, and I think this is him growing, it just spilled out. Yeah. And there it was,
I think Spike Lee working in the realm of Netflix really gives him the ability to do what he wants as a filmmaker and still be able to make interesting content at the same time. I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on.
Good. Well, what happens? It's on the sky.
No, well, because when I say too, it spills out, is that it spills out in a way like a lake or like a pool of water, but you can't walk around it.
Yeah.
You're going to have to
walk through it.
Go and walk through this, but it's not a wave that comes over you and crashes down over you.
It flips you around and hits you in the face.
Yeah. You know, so it's one of those things, no, we gotta go ahead through this.
All right, Ham, did you want to continue something?
Yeah, no, I was just trying to say, I don't know if he would have been able to do this film in a theater type setting, but you know, I like these type of films that he does. I don't know if you guys have seen the documentary he did about Hurricane Katrina, but I think that's one of the best things he's done.
Oh yeah, it's a 4-part series, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention, it's kind of nice this is on Netflix because I think it gives more people a chance to see it, because I don't know if I would have gone out to a theater to go see this.
I don't think so.
Maybe not. It wouldn't have been high on my list, even though I like Spike Lee. I said, I'll just wait until that comes. And I think when it came out, there was a lot of people, like word of mouth was really able to spread, and I think a lot of people were able to catch this film, which I think it's important that it's, maybe not as important as like a Do the Right Thing, but it does have some valuable lessons a lot of people from a lot of walks of life can learn. So I think you guys mind wrapping this one up?
Yeah, let's go.
So that's the Five Bloods. If you've seen it on Netflix, I recommend. If you haven't seen it on Netflix, watch it. Why aren't you watching it? It's on Netflix. So a very enjoyable movie. Catch it right in the. Send us some comments. Just let us know what you think about it, and we out.
Okay, and a shout out to Rosie Perez, who was really good in this movie.
She was really good.
She was amazing in this movie.
Yeah,
she was better than Chadwich Boseman.
Yes, I thought she was.
Well, yeah, and that's like it. Oh shoot, Chadwich Boseman was great in it. Delroy Lindo was amazing in this one. So go see it. All right, we out.
All right, go see it.
Go see it. Go stream it. Jeez. Wow.